Hi, I'm Dan Danford. We're doing a series of podcasts on Dad's divorce, talking about various financial issues. The question that we get today is one that I hear with some frequency as people consider their job. The question is, should I move to another city to take a better job? It's, I think, a very interesting question because I really am convinced that a lot of our happiness in life comes from our job. It's not just an issue of, I go to work and those people are nice to me and I go home. It's more an issue of if I feel satisfied and fulfilled at my office and the people around me, I take that home with me at the end of the day. So lots of happiness in the family or with the people we love has to do with, are we happy in our jobs? So that leads the question about, should I take another job? And then maybe even a bigger question, should I be willing to move someplace else in order to take a job? And there are a lot of issues to consider there, so I thought of a couple that we might take a look at. The first one is, how happy are you where you are? I can tell you, I've had a number of jobs in my career, and sometimes the ones that paid me the most money were the ones where I was most miserable. So forget the issue of money for just a second and just focus on the job itself. Are you happy in that job? Because if you are happy in that job, then there's possibility that there are ways to keep doing that job or a job similar to that and increase the money that comes to you. So just because you aren't getting paid as much as you like doesn't necessarily mean that's a reason to abandon a job. Okay? The opposite is true as well. I've heard people tell me over the years, they say, I would leave this job in a heartbeat, except I'm paid so well I hate to leave. And what I've discovered over the years is there are some jobs that you couldn't pay me enough money to have or to keep. I've just been miserable sometimes when I was being paid pretty well. So I guess my first point that I'd make to you is just forget about the money for a minute or two and just think about, what is it you do on a daily basis? Who are the people around you? And are you happy in what you're doing? And if the answer to that question is no, then you need to start looking for another job. If the answer to that question is yes, then you need to start looking at restructuring the job in a way that will pay you more, or you need to start looking for another place where you can do the same job. Okay, but basic bottom line here, if you aren't happy in what you're doing, then you need to look around. The next question that I would point out, or the next concern that I would have, is are there growth opportunities in the job I'm in? Historically, in the United States especially, but in most capitalistic countries or organizations, you start out at the bottom with little experience and you aren't paid much. And as you grow in responsibility, you also grow in the financial rewards of that job. So you might work in a company and you might start when you're 25, but you would hope under the ordinary course of activities that by the time you got to be 35, you'd be making better money. Okay? Part of that is because you become more valuable as you gain experience, but part of that also is that you should be able to take on new responsibilities or grow in the job. If you've got a great job you love and yet it doesn't offer growth potential, in all likelihood that's a red flag. You need to start looking around for other opportunities because you need to grow as you go forward. One of the things in personal finance that we talk about a lot, but you don't hear a lot of discussion about, is that for most of us, our chief asset is our ability to earn a living. Okay? If you look at what our house is worth and what our car is worth and what our money in the bank is worth, none of those things add up to the rising income stream we're likely to have over the rest of our life. That rising income stream is extremely valuable. Well, you need to make sure that you enhance that as much as possible. Any job you take, you should be looking at it as with the question of where do I grow from here? Okay? And if there isn't a growth opportunity in the job, then you should probably look around for something else. Now the last thing I'll touch, and this is really important especially in the areas of divorce, and that's if I make a change either within my current job or by moving someplace else, how does it affect the people I love? Okay, very, very important. In today's society, a lot of, I'll call them middle-aged people, they have responsibilities both up and down. They have responsibilities to their children, but they also have responsibilities to their parents. Okay, and all I'd say about this is you need to make choices that are good for you, but are also good for the people around you. And so you need to at least consider that as you make decisions. Now, one point I'll make about moving to another community, and I think this is important, is that today's communication opportunities are much better than they've ever been in the world. Okay? We don't have the same, it's not like back in the 1850s when people moved to California and they never saw their family again, or it's not like when people came across the ocean from Europe to start a new life in the United States and they never saw family again. We're talking about instant communications any place in the world. One of my daughters was actually did some mission work in Africa a few summers ago, and using cell phones and using Skype on the computer, we could call her up and actually look at her and talk to her while she was in Africa, half a world away. Okay? If just being moved to a different geographic area doesn't necessarily mean that you're cutting off relations with the people around you. But you need to take that into account because it's very, very important. Nothing about a job or a career is as important as taking care of the people that you love. So I guess my response to the overall question is, whether or not you should leave town to take a new job, I'd say, first of all, look at the job you're in. Are you happy there? Number two, does it offer you growth potential as you go forward? Because that's very, very important. And the third question is, how will a change affect the people around you? And as you consider those three questions, I think it will lead you to the best conclusion for you and your family as you consider your job. Okay, that's it for this week. Next week we'll be back with another Money Made Easy. Thanks.